I do not think the people at the helm of the party have been willing to contend with the depth of the crisis the party is in. I mean, it is at its worst point than at almost any point in our history. And I would probably even include after the 1984 election when we lost 49 states.
Okay, Stegosaurus, Velociraptor, Dana, what will the Democrats look like?
Welcome, welcome. If you're new, you ain't gonna be disappointed. We're gonna get into some the five talking about the Dems, like real bad crisis. It's enough yapping. Let's get into it.
Like the dinosaurs, the Democratic Party's facing new signs that them could be headed for extinction, politically speaking. The New York Times says the blue wall might be cooked. Quote, how the Electoral College could tilt further from Democrats. If population projections hold, in 2032, a Democratic presidential candidate who wins Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Nevada loses the presidency. And the Obama squad says there's never been a worse time to be.
That's crazy because honestly, for the most part, we know as conservatives, we lose Pennsylvania. Usually it's a wrap. That's a wrap. Pennsylvania is like the one. And they did this to themselves. We'll get into that further.
A Democrat.
I do not think the people at the helm.
Obama, bro. That's two words that should never go together. Don't know that I've ever met an Obama bro. Just because a dude, I don't know. All right, this guy ain't a bro. I can promise you.
Of the party have been willing to contend with the depth of the crisis the party is in. I mean, it is at its worst point than at almost any point in our history. And I would probably even include after the 1984 election when we lost 49 states.
Okay, Stegosaurus.
He's completely right. I take it back. You could be a bro. They went so far. They essentially let the clowns get the keys to the castle, and then the clowns started running the show. And then you had the Nancy Pelosi's and the Chuck Schumer's like, abortion at 9 months is okay. And they'd be like, there's nothing wrong with minors getting transgender surgery. You're like, dude, you could check them. They're all freshmen congressmen and women. You don't need to listen to their nonsense. Just check them. But they didn't have that. They had nothing to run on. So they're like, all right, I guess we're going to go after like 1% of the population and somehow win the popular vote or the Electoral College. It's like, dude, you can't like zone in on 1% of people and leave 99% out and hope it's enough. Like, it's insane.
Velociraptor, Dana, what will the Democrats look like in 2032?
Well, I agree that in a way it feels like they're just done, that they're never coming back. But usually the parties do bounce back.
Can't underestimate them. Dems are, God, they're sneaky.
Like eventually, as I said, maybe since 1984, it hasn't been this bad. Like the cicadas, they come back every 17 years.
That's
a possibility.
Right. Yep.
This is the double down conference. They're trying to figure out a way to, how can we most not learn our lesson from the last election? And in this scenario that you have them talking about the Hamas-Israel war, and I know that is a serious bone of contention with a lot of people there, and it's severe and it's striking. But they also talked about dark money in politics and land acknowledgements instead of talking about economics or policing or education. It's not that there aren't issues that they could grab onto. They just choose not to. Maybe they shouldn't have had this meeting in public.
Yeah.
Right? They maybe should have had this one behind closed doors.
Dems, I don't want to help you, but if it pulls you closer to the center, call me. It's not that complicated. Economics, comedy, let's get back to normal, and I promise you'll get more votes. This is actually easier for Democrats than it is for Republicans.
And try to figure out and hash it out and really have it out with each other. I like seeing it in person, but just from a comm standpoint, I might have taken it behind closed doors.
Tyrus, I know you wanted to start the segment with a land acknowledgement. If you
no,
take it away.
no,
okay.
No, land gets conquered all the time. That's how human beings work.
Okay.
I think it's cicada, but I don't want to be that guy.
Cicada?
Yeah.
Man, it's cicada. Nobody heard of a cicada.
Cicada, cicada.
Oh, my neighborhood is Cicada. I think the biggest problem that the Democratic Party has, and it's not the, again, I said it yesterday. This man right here is a Democrat. These ain't Democrats. The Socialist Party has a problem. They're still
That's
campaigning
right.
against a guy that they'll never compete against again. President Trump won.
That's
Accept
it,
it.
yeah.
So you're not going to, he's not running in 20, no matter how much you want to make, because I guarantee you, their entire campaign slogan is much like the dinosaurs who never thought till when they looked up and saw the asteroid coming, like, hey, maybe we should walk over here. The smaller dinosaurs, the conservative ones, turned into birds and are still with us here today.
I ain't smaller than no Democrat.
But those Democrats wanted to stay there and be like, oh, it's no big. We can beat that big, beautiful asteroid that is President Trump. You missed your window. You're not going to get him. So in your meeting, you come together and say, we'd like to acknowledge the fact that for the last decade and a half, we've battled with Trump. White flag, we lost, regroup. Everyone who was a part of it, thanks for playing. Send your way. That's a new team. You got to make cuts. And we're going to start things over from scratch.
I just can't
and that's the only way you do it. Otherwise, you go the way of the dodo.
I didn't know the smart dinosaurs transitioned into birds.
Yes.
That's the first time I'm hearing
We
it.
just went to the museum with Jesse Jr. You know, that chicken.
They don't teach that at the Smithsonian because all the displays are about slavery. So
Yeah, I saw the skeletons. I didn't
Yeah,
read
you
the
play around with
chickens.
in the scientific lab. You play around with the chicken's embryo, you can reproduce a raptor-like individual.
Okay, another person that knows more about science than I do. Katie, explain to me is it the shift in population? Is it everybody's moving to Florida and
Yeah.
Texas?
Well, that helps too, and it does not help
Florida,
Democrats
baby.
with their redistricting or with the Electoral College in future elections. But the dinosaurs didn't do this to themselves. You know, this is kind of out of their control. The asteroid taking them out. Democrats are doing this to themselves.
facts.
They can't get out of.
Facts. Man, if they, you know what's scary about this whole thing? If Democrats played it cool, took it slow, let's say Obama's first 4 years, nothing too aggressive, baby steps towards socialism, Marxism. They couldn't do that. They're not patient. They were like, we got to get radical. We got to get more radical. We got to get more radical. And everybody's like, dude, I'm broke. I don't care about this identity stuff anymore. We would have been old by the time they got it, but they would have got it
Their own way. At this DNC meeting, they're still defending terrorism. They're doubling down on saying criminals are not a problem and that Americans should basically just live with higher crime rates, that it's some kind of distraction by the Republicans, not real life.
Yep.
They still are arguing. You had the Attorney General of Minnesota saying this today, that sex offenders should still be in women's bathrooms and girls' restrooms, saying they want to sue the Trump administration over transgender bathroom initiatives still to the state.
You don't see many
Continue doing that. And then
girls that
America
transition coming
is
into
this
guys' rooms.
colonialist, white
usually the other way
supremacist
around.
nation that needs to be taken down or shamed till the end of time, which you saw in that ridiculous land acknowledgement. So they can't get out of their own way. As the country is going to the right, the Democratic Party, where the energy is shifting to the left.
Facts.
And I actually think that the Mamdanis and the AOCs are in control, and they're going to gain even more power. Because to at least Mamdani's credit, I think all of his solutions are ludicrous, and that communism is not a solution to housing or other issues in a city. But he's actually talking about housing prices.
I mean, I hate cutting her off because she was absolutely brilliant on that. Yeah, I mean, he is talking issues, but he's talking about the worst ways to solve the issues, like government-sponsored or state-sponsored grocery stores and price control. I don't have time to explain why those are horrible ideas, but you should check it out.
Healthcare, cost of groceries, where at the DNC, it's hearing a lot of the same stuff that is kind of out in la la land for the average American, and they're not interested.
Harold, you guys will bounce back, right?
Look, you never bet against the future. And the problem Democrats have is we're clinging to the past. The old ideas, the old ways, it sounds and feels like we're running a 1990s campaign. And that doesn't mean I don't like President Clinton, who won in those times. But that technology is not going to win in 2025, 26, 28. In 84 and 88, the young fellow was on, one of the Obama guys was on, talking about how bad 84 was. 88 was bad too. 92, remember, no Democrat wanted to run in 92 because H.W. Bush was so strong. He had ejected Saddam Hussein from Kuwait, and Norman Schwarzkopf was the talk of the country. Cuomo didn't run, Mario Cuomo didn't run, Bill Bradley didn't run, Al Gore didn't run. And all of a sudden, this little country governor from Arkansas said, it's the economy, stupid. That's what I'm going to run on. Guy named
Absolutely brilliant. I mean, two fantastic points in a row. And this is what I was talking about. I don't want to consult Democrats, but if you get back to talking like this guy, who is supposedly the Democrat of the table, you'll win races. You'll win them easy because this is just common sense with that left wing flavor that I'm not a fan of, but it's still common sense. Anyway, if you made it this far, like and subscribe. I really appreciate you. See you.